देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदिरहे नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेव्या भागवते उत्तमा श्लोके भक्ति भवति नैष्टिकी. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 8, Text number 6. The chapter is titled Manifestation of Brahma from Garbhodakshai Vishnu, from the canto, which is the status quo. Muhuglinanto vachasanuraga skalat padinasya kritani tadgya kirita sahasramani praveka pradyo let's see, Pradyotita uttama fana sahastram muhurgrinanto vachasa anuraga skalat padenasya kritani tadgya kirita sahastramani praveka pradyotita uddama fana sahastram Muhugrinanto vachasa anuraga skalat padenasya kritani tadgya kirita sahastra mani praveka pradyotita uddama pana sahastram. Word by word. Muhu, again and again. Grinantaha, glorifying. Vachasha, by words. Anuraga, with great affection. Skalat padena, with symmetrical rhythm. Asya, of the Lord. Kritani, activities. Tadgya, those who know the pastimes. Kirita, helmets. Sahastra, thousands. Mani praveka, glowing effulgence of the valuable stones. Pradyotita, emanating from. Uddama, raised. Fana, hoods. Sahastram, thousands. Translation by and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. The four Kumaras, headed by Sanat Kumar, who all knew the transcendental pastimes of the Lord, glorified the Lord in rhythmic accents with selected words full of affection and love. At that time, Lord Sankarshan, with his thousands of raised hoods, began to radiate an effulgence from the glowing stones on his head. Yeah, that's such a nice translation. The four Kumaras headed by Sanat Kumar, who all knew the transcendental pastimes of the Lord, glorified the Lord in rhythmic accents with selected words full of affection and love. At that time, Lord Sankarshan, with his thousands of raised hoods, began to radiate an effulgence from the glowing stones on his head. Purport: the Lord is sometimes addressed as Uttama Sloka, which means one who is worshipped with selected words by devotees. Uttama Sloka, one who is worshipped with selected words by devotees. A profusion of such selected words comes from a devotee who is fully absorbed in affection and love for the devotional service of the Lord. A profusion of such selected words comes from a devotee who is fully absorbed in affection and love for the devotional service of the Lord. There are many instances in which even a small boy who was a great devotee of the Lord could offer excellent prayers in the choicest words for glorification of the pastimes of the Lord. In other words, without the development of fine affection and love, one cannot offer prayers to the Lord very suitably. Om Agnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurmitan Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manabhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swamrupa Kadamayam Dadati Swa Padantikam. The four Kumars, headed by Sanat Kumar, who all knew the transcendental pastimes of the Lord, glorify the Lord in rhythmic accents with selected words full of affection and love. At that time, Lord Sankarshan, with his thousands of raised heads, began to radiate an effulgence from the glowing stones on his head. Yeah. So, we see in this section of Srimad Bhagavatam, Maitreya Muni is describing the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam and how he got knowledge, right? How he got knowledge. Now, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and Srimad Bhagavatam. So, in the 5th chapter of the 3rd canto, there was a question raised, how does one get happiness? Right. Let's see the question. How to attain real happiness? How to attain real happiness? Which that question is again referred in the second words of this chapter. And we see here the sages, right, approaching Shankarshan, Lord Shankarshan. It is millions of hoods here. We see at that time, Lord Sankarshan with his thousands of raised hoods began to radiate an effulgence from the glowing stones on his head. So the Lord ultimately, it says that the only way one can know the Lord, not by erudite scholarship. We see so many pastimes in even Krishna Lila. We see these erudite scholar Brahmanas. And the Gopas going to the Brahmanas and they are asking, how Krishna and Balaram are hungry, all these offerings you are taking for the yajna, can you give those offerings? And they said, no, they're ritualistic. And then they approach the wives of the Brahman, and the wives of the Brahman immediately gives. Oh, Krishna and Balaram are hungry. Or we see even at young age, a child is able to glorify the Lord with such a wonderful composition of prayers. There's an entire section of prayers of Prahlad Maharaj in Srimad Bhagavatam. A mere child, 5-year-old child. Prayers of Prahlad Maharaj. Prayers of Dhruva Maharaj. Again, a young child being insulted by his stepmother. And immediately he leaves the kingdom, being guided by his real mother, being guided by his real mother. That okay, means, I cannot help you in this situation. And he goes to the forest. Between he meets Narad Muni, who further guides him, right, as a spiritual master. And then he follows the guidance of Narad Muni, right, and starts performing austerities, and ultimately gets the darshan of the Supreme Lord. And that darshan of the Supreme Lord, means why he had gone to perform austerities? Ultimately, with a desire that I want a kingdom greater than my great grandfather. His great grandfather was the Brahma. Right? Kshatriya, really with his blood boiling from the insult of his stepmother, that I'm not able to sit on the lap of my father. He goes and performs his austerities and ultimately gets the darshan of the Supreme Lord, and he says, oh, whatever I was desiring were just broken pieces of glass. Right. Whatever I was desiring was just broken pieces of glass. And then glorifies the Lord. Similarly, Prahlad Maharaj, we see him is right when he was in the womb of his mother, Kayadu, and the demigods at Kerala, when Hiranyakashipu had gone to perform severe austerities, not here to get the Supreme Lord or his darshan, but to ultimately get powers, unrivaled powers. And they take away Kayadu. In that time, they're about to kill because he is carrying a baby. And thinking that, oh, this is the right opportune time that before this child who is born from a demoness, the demon race will again spread atrocities. Let's kill him. And Nagmani stops that you don't know who this child is. Right? And he takes Mother Kayadu to his ashram and imparts knowledge, which the child is hearing right in the womb. And as soon as he comes out, he's just glorifying the Supreme Lord. Right at a tender age, he tells his friends, do not waste time for frivolous sports. Just use each and every moment of your time in glorifying the Supreme Lord. Right. Bhagavad Gita we hear, Bhaktyamam abhijanati yavanastasmi tatvata. Only by performance of devotional service, one can know the Supreme Lord. Manushyanam sastreshu kashinatati saddhaya. Out of thousands of people, only one person endeavor for perfection, and out of thousands of those who are endeavoring for perfection, hardly one person knows me in truth. Right. Supanisha, Tasi Krishna Namanina Bhavet Grahyam Indriyai. By our material blunt senses, we cannot know the Supreme Lord. So, Mukesh, Tasi Krishna Namanina Bhavet Grahyam Indriyai. What is the next? Let's see. Unless our senses, right, are used in the service of the Lord, right, only by seva, service, right, one will be able to know the Supreme Lord. Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Santa Sadeva Hridayeshu Vilokayanti. Unless our eyes are anointed by the law of God, we won't be able to see the Lord. Verses after verses, talks about how one can get the knowledge of the Supreme Lord. Right? The soul by nature is Sat Chit Ananda. The Lord is also Sat Chit Ananda. The soul is infinitesimal. The Lord is a reservoir, right? Of full eternality, full bliss, full knowledge. So much so that its internal energy is classified into these Shaktis. This Sandhini Shakti, Sambit Shakti, Radhini Shakti. Right? And here we see, right, that the sages headed by Sanat Kumara, right, the four Kumars who were born from Lord Brahma. They were Manasi Putras, the mind of Lord Brahma. The four Kumaras were born. And ultimately, the desire of Lord Brahma was so that they can become Prajapatis and increase the population. Right. And what was their desire? The four Kumaras, no. We don't want to get into all the trouble. And right from the young age, they started performing austerities. Right. They were enlightened. In fact, they go one time to meet Lord Vishnu. They meet these doorkeepers, Jai and Vijay, and they, at that time they smell the tulsi offered to the Supreme Lord, and just by that smell, that aroma, right? Initially, they were uh, seeking knowledge of impersonal from Lord. They became devotees of the Lord. And now they're glorifying the Supreme Lord by choicest prayers. Right? Glorifying the Supreme Lord by choicest prayers. Right. And that's why one of the name of the Supreme Lord is Uttama Sloka. One who is worshipped with selected words by devotees. Worship with selected words by devotees. But those selected words, does it just come automatically? No. No. The materialist, when he tries to glorify the Supreme Lord, always practicing, always desiring for material wealth, always desiring for material wealth. Even his glorification, he would start saying, "Oh Lord, um, yeah, I will offer you this, I'll offer you this, please give me this." Because it's conditioned of trading, right? In the material world, we are all conditioned. You give me this, then I'll give this. Or if I give you this, I need this in return, right? So, in our uh, relationship with the Lord, also, we then try to make those conditions, right? But the Lord, right, is not captured by that kind of devotion. It's different that akama, sarvakama, moksha kama udaradhi. That even if one is desiring wealth, one should worship the Supreme Lord. Right? Even sarvakama, we have so many desires, that's desires. Worship the Supreme Lord, that Lord will ultimately take away, purify those desires. And make one capable, qualified to get the mercy of the Supreme Lord. Right. And then that same desires which he initially started off with, he starts hating and becomes un Mama Janmani Janmanishware, Bhavatat Bhakti Ahituki Tvai. That is the unalloyed devotional service, not tainted by material conditioning, not tainted by mukti, bhukti. Right? A devotee of the Lord, mukti and bhukti, are the doorkeepers. Right? Are the doorkeepers. Trying to allure, okay, no, means, worship so that you'll get liberation, worship so that you can get sense gratification, and no, devotee shuns both of that off. No. सवै पुंस परधम तो भक्ति अदोक सजे अहितु की अप्रतिहता यही आत्मा सुप्रसिद्धि unalloyed, uninterrupted devotional service. Right. Yeah. So we see even in case of our founder Acharya Shri Prabhupada, right from the young age, right from the young age, because parents would always call, no, any sadhus which they see, they'll call and invite them at home to take prasad. Right. By doing that, what happens? You get the mercy of the sadhus. If the sadhu comes to your home, one should not think that, oh, means, he's coming because he has no place to go, he's coming because he wants some material wealth. No. He's coming to show mercy on that family. Right. So when they're nicely served, they bestow so much mercy, and see, no, that mercy flows into the family, and then, from that family, it's a wonderful child, special child, the servant of the Lord, takes birth. Narad Muni, right? We see his lifetime, in his lifetime, mentions his mother was serving the sages, and he will get the remnants of the food served to those sages, those devotees. Right? Just the remnants. And see each and every element which we kind of little bit know here and there. Oh, Mahatma's, we see some sannyasi or senior devotee being served, and then we try to get some remnant. And others externally will say, oh, no, see, why they are eating something juta? Right? But see the importance of each and every of those elements. Right? So one can get the knowledge of the Supreme Lord only by serving the great sages, only by serving the Vaishnavas. Bhakti comes from, how does bhakti arise within a person's heart? How does devotional service arise within a person's heart? Only by service. Only by service. Right. And thus, we see that here, in these particular words, the sages headed by Sanat Kumara, when they started glorifying the Lord, what happens to the Lord? Lord becomes completely pleased. Lord Sankarshan, with his thousands of raised goods, he began to radiate an effulgence from the glowing stones on his head. Right? Completely satisfied by the prayers of his unalloyed devotees. Right? And then he imparts knowledge in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam. That's how, that's another point which is made that here is that knowledge, how did Maitreya Muni get knowledge? Through that disciplic succession, parampara. Evam parampara praptam imam rajasya viduhu. This knowledge one can is not just obtained by reading books and books and books, but through disciplic succession. This knowledge is obtained. Mentioned in this case, that disciplic succession is mentioned of all the way coming from Lord Sankarshan, right? That Maitra Muni hears the history of Srimad Bhagavatam from his guru, Parasar Muni, who heard the Bhagavatam from Sankhyayan Muni, who had heard it from Sanat Kumar, and who heard it from Lord Sankarshan. The disciplic succession, Lord Sankarshan imparting to Sanat Kumar, he imparting to Sankhyayan Muni, imparting to Parasar Muni, imparting to Maitreya Muni, and that's how then Maitreya Muni later on he imparts that knowledge, same knowledge which he received to Vidur Maharaj. Are there any questions, discussions? You have a few minutes.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam Prabhu.
Dandavat Pranam, Asay Jagannath Prabhu, so nice to hear you.
Haribol Prabhu, Haribol. So Prabhu, you told that Sanat Kumar was the impersonalist. And so
initially.
He was Sanat 4 Kumaras was impersonalist, and Sanat 4 Kumaras is the Manas Putra of Brahma, right?
Yeah.
So Prabhu, can you describe how they became the impersonalist and later become the personalist?
Yeah. So there are two aspects of the Lord, impersonal feature and the personal feature. When we just try for knowledge, right, we have these different yogas, karma yoga, jnana yoga, bhakti yoga, right? So by our speculative knowledge, we try to aspire to get the Supreme Lord, right? And try to become jnanis. Ultimately, the concluding feature of that jnana is what is the concluding feature? That Lord is pervading everywhere. So they come to that knowledge of the Lord in form of Brahman. Vajanti tat tattvavidat tattvam yad jnanam advayam brahmeti parmatmeti bhagavaneti sabdyate. Lord has three aspects. The knowledge of the Supreme Lord in form of Brahman is his all-pervasive aspect, which is impersonal. If we just stop at that knowledge of the Lord as Brahman, that is impersonal. Right. So it kind of establishes that unless one does not get connected to worship of the Supreme Lord, the personal feature of the Supreme Lord, he does not get to the Bhagwan feature of the Supreme Lord. He remains at the Brahman feature of the Supreme Lord. Right. Which is impersonal. All pervasive aspect of the Supreme Lord. Like the sun rays. Oh, right now through my window, sun rays are coming. That's impersonal. But where is it coming from? Oh, that globe, sun globe. Now it has some feature. Like the Ashtanga yogis then take that further. Oh, where is it coming from? They meditate, and ultimately they get the feature of Paramatma within their heart. right? But beyond that sun globe is the controller of the sun globe, sun god, and he has activities, pastimes, right? He has activities and pastimes. He has a name, he has a address, he has a son, daughter, right? Similarly, the Bhagwan feature of the Supreme Lord. We see uh, even by thousands of hoods, no, Sankarshan and Sesha is glorifying the Supreme Lord. Still, they completely are not able to glorify the Supreme Lord. Right. So here the Kumaras, ultimately when they smell the flower or the tulsi offered at the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, they become devotees. They get attracted to the personal feature of the Supreme Lord. Devotees means they get attracted to the personal feature of the Supreme Lord, the Bhagwan feature of the Supreme Lord. Does that answer your question?
Yes, Prabhu, got the point. And other thing, Prabhu, just talking about the Sankarshan and glorifying the Lord. So this Sankarshan and the Vishnu, is the Mahavishnu or Garbhoday Sai Vishnu or Kshiroday Sai Vishnu?
There's a source of Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshay Vishnu. Sankarshan is a source, is a first expansion of coming from Lord Balaram. The Chaturvi expansion of Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha and Vasudev comes from Lord Balaram. And then from that original Sankarshan comes Narayan, then comes the second Chaturvi expansion of Sankarshan, Vasudev, Pradyumna and Aniruddha. And from that second expansion Sankarshan comes Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshay Vishnu and Kshirodakshay Vishnu. So
Yes, so
Sankarshan is a source.
I'll take the 15 seconds. Sorry for interruption. I'm talking about that in this verse, Sankarshan is there and Vishnu is there, Bhagavan Vishnu is there.
Well, he is Vishnu, so Vishnu is a general category.
Mm-hmm.
Vishnu, they are all Vishnus. They are all Lord Vishnu. Sankarshan is also Vishnu.
Yes, Prabhu. I got your point, but in this verse, the four Kumara made with Mahavishnu or Sankarshan or
No, Lord Sankarshan directly.
Directly. Oh, no, not Vishnu.
Well, again, Lord Sankarshan is also Vishnu. So Lord Sankarshan Vishnu. Take it like that.
Okay. Got it.
Okay.
Got it.
Thank you very much. Thank you for all the time. We're already at past time. So we'd like to wish you all a safe and Krishna conscious day and weekend ahead. Busy weekends of summertime. Last weekend of July. And what happened during the last weekend of July? Does anybody know? It's quiz time.
Brahmotsav. We bought the temple.
We bought the temple in last weekend of July. Okay. Anybody else?
It's the fifth anniversary of Lord Jagannath and Gaurnithai's arrival in our temple.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this weekend was the installation of Jagannath Baladev Subhadra and Sri Gaurnithai. So in that form, yes, that's also Brahmotsav, but the installation. We bought our property in August of 2014. Balaram Purnima was of installation of Sri Radha Shyam Sundar, and this weekend, yeah. So with that, mood, That's why initially we had planned, when we planned in the beginning of the year, we said, oh, how are we going to celebrate this weekend? So we'll celebrate by having our boat festival. And sorry, we apologize. Your calendar says it's a boat festival. We are not prepared. We won't have the boat festival. You can have the boat festival in your mind of the wonderful pastimes of the Supreme Lord. You can read the Nauka Vihar pastimes of the Supreme Lord from the Krishna book. It's a very, very special month which is coming, right? Starting the first month of Chaturmas is going on, and all the way in August with wonderful festivities coming. August 8th will be our Rath Yatra, last Rath Yatra of the year on Oak Tree Road. Wednesday is also Ekadasi, fasting from grains and beans and increasing our Krishna consciousness. And then leading to Balaram Purnima, which is on August 22nd. And then August 29th will be the day before Janmashtami, and August 30th Janmashtami, and 31st Prabhupada Appearance Day. So a lot of wonderful festivities coming. So make sure you charge all your batteries to take this special mercy of the Supreme Lord. Okay, good. That note, we'll also have Govindas over the weekend and Nikadasi. There are also some programs happening, house programs, and a lot of service in the temple, wedding, somebody's wedding is happening in the temple, and house program, and this, that. So if you're available, just make yourself available for some service. Okay, we'd like to offer our prayers to the Supreme Lord by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Hare